Greetings, Toyaholic fans. I haven't done a Toyaholic video in some weeks, months. I have been extraordinarily busy. I won't go into the details or bore you, so let's just start on this topic. Has anybody besides me gotten this Droids C-3po from Target exclusive for the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm? Complete with coin. Really cute little mold there they used for him and everything. And I pre-ordered the R2, the 3PO, and the Boba Fett, just like you see on the back of the card here, and one other 6-inch Boba Fett. And so far, 3PO is the only one that has actually shipped and arrived. But as you can see, he's very similar to the classic 3PO, which I already own. So it was after I graduated college, 1992, that I got the Droids R2 and Droids 3PO. Now, I got these two from Jeff Freeman in Indiana, a store called Falcon's Hangar. I did them via mail order, and I want to say I paid $30 each for them. Prior to that, Hanger, by the way, H-A-N-G-E-R, we tried to tell him that was a typo, but anyway, so prior to that, I already had the rest of the Droids and Ewoks cartoon figures. I had gotten those at a KB Toys in Madison Square Mall in Huntsville, Alabama. Doesn't exist anymore. Now it is a golf course. I mean, they've raised the thing to the ground, and there's like a big golf course and some other things there. But these were those figures, and I want to zoom in on one of these price tags and let you see. I paid a whopping $1.99 each. Originally $3.79 each, and marked down to $1.99. So I got Jord Dusat, Thal Jobin, Kiamal, and let God sort them out. Keziban, Jan Tosh, Uncle Gundy, Size From, and Tig From. So how many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them for $1.99. And the Ewoks figures, I got 2 of them for $1.99 each, which was Wicket and Logray, or Logray. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 figures for $1.99. But the world was not yet the scan the UPC code world we live in. So I took my 10 figures up to the register, and the girl counted them, put it in the register, and charged me. And it wasn't until later that I realized she had only charged me for 9 of them. So one of those 10 figures I got absolutely free. The other 9 I got for $1.99 each. Now, the rest of the Ewoks figures, apparently I found those at Toys R Us, which would have also been in the same city of Huntsville, Alabama. So that is the Shaman, Urga Lady Gornish, the Dulux Scout, and King Gornish, all of which I paid a whopping $2.97 for. So, start tabulating this up and you'll see how much I've spent on Droids and Ewoks figures. The discounts did not always come my way, but I do like to report them when I have them. Now, you've seen some of these figures before. I've shown them in my Vader case number 5 Droids Ewoks cartoon, and let's just run through them really quickly. Thal Jobin, Jord Dusat, Kiamal, Jan Tosh, Uncle Gundy, Tig From, Size From, and Keziban. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I've got Boba Fett, which was another figure released on the Droids and Ewoks card. And somewhere around here, I preset a A-Wing fighter pilot. More on those later. Then I got the R2 and the 3PO, and many years later I did get a loose 3PO and a loose R2, who is missing the pop-up lightsaber, but I've got some repros for that. And then a custom R2 that I did using the mold of the existing original R2 without any sort of feature in his head, but my longtime correspondent Ryan Pominville said on Facebook the other day something about, oh, I always liked the sensor scope feature on the Droids R2, and I'm like, no, there wasn't a sensor scope feature, but actually that makes more sense for the Droids cartoon for him to have had a pop-up feature, because he was always having gadgets and stuff. I don't remember him ever launching a lightsaber, though I do know that some of the characters did wield lightsabers in the show, which was sort of ahead of its time. And then, now I can't get that thought out of my head now. I kind of want to make a sensor scope R2-D2 in the Droids colors, so that might be on the horizon. This was a custom 3PO that I did a few years ago from a much more posable Clone Wars cartoon sculpt. I just thought he kind of went with the same aesthetic and painted him. One of the cleanest spray paint jobs I've ever done, but he's unfortunately picked up a few scrapes and scratches there. Also in this case, I attempted at one point to make a Jessica Meade from a core figure that I simply repainted. And then for the Ewoks cartoon, Wicket, Logray, Lady Urga Gornish, King Gornish, the forgettable Dulux Scout, and the one I actually kind of liked was always the Dulux Shaman. Now all these figures came with coins, and I do have my coins. I keep them in a Star Wars Galaxy trading case card. It's kind of dusty. These more silvery coins are from the Power of the Force line, and then on page 2 you've got these gold coins for the Droids figures and these brassy or bronzy coins for the Ewoks. So yeah. Now I've got a lot of these little figures here that were de-chromed. So you've got things that they took off the chrome. They sold them as prototypes or first shots. I knew they weren't prototypes or first shots. I just said, hey, I kind of like that. I want it as a conversation piece. And so I picked up a few of these. Only one of them is a removable limbs version of 3PO, but I thought it was kind of cool to take the arms and legs off of the various 3POs that I had and mix and match and swap them around. And I have some regular C-3POs that have been de-chromed. I have the Death Star droid that has been de-chromed, and from the later line of Star Wars figures, there was this 3PO, and he was in a nice bright Droids yellow, and I thought, well, I only wanted those guys because they were the vintage molds, but I kind of want that guy too. So, in addition to the action figures, I also have some of these PVCs that they had at the Disney parks. I've got a couple of the very yellow C-3PO there. These actually have a tiny difference. One of them's eyebrows are painted and the other ones are not. And then I've got a couple of the R2-D2 as well, which actually looks much more like the cartoon design. And there's a subtle difference on these as well. I have 3 of them. 2, the eye is red in the middle, and one of them, the eye is yellow. So then there was a Stormtrooper, and the top of his head is gray for some reason. That is not my camera glitching. There was Darth Vader. These kind of look like they were recast from the Kenner figures, especially Chewbacca and the Stormtrooper. See those guys there. And then there was also a Yoda, who looks very much like the Kenner Star Wars figure. And I've got a couple of Wickets. Slight changes to his paint scheme around the eyes. And I've got a couple of the 3PO also in gold, I would call that, even though it's a little tarnished over the years. A couple of vehicles for the Droids line that I found recently. I was looking in a different box for other items and found the side gunner vehicle. It's missing this little gun there, but it's actually inside the cockpit. I had taken things apart that I thought might get damaged over time the last time that I had boxed these up. So let me see if I can figure out how that goes on there. Something like that. And then there was the Atl Interceptor, which was just sort of an odd toy that did this, and I don't know why. It has a gun inside of it too that needs to go on the very front here, like that. Alright, Droid Side Gunner, Droids Atl Interceptor. And speaking of vehicles, there was also the Droids A-Wing Fighter vehicle, one of the few things that I still have in a box. You can see a price tag on it that says $75, handwritten. Now the story of this is that my friend John Davis, who I've mentioned several times in this video series, was needing to get money for medical purposes, and he decided to part with his vintage Star Wars collection. He was working at the local comic book shop at the time. I went in there, I saw some items that I kind of wanted, and he said he would lower the price. I just kind of said, oh, that's a little more than I can pay, and he voluntarily lowered the price. I was not trying that as a sales gambit or a bartering gambit. It was just me speaking honestly and, you know, off the top of my head. And he said something that really moved me then, and I've mentioned it in a previous video, but he said, how about this price? Because I see in you a good home for my things. That was maybe somewhere between 88 and 92. And here still in the box, pristine as the day I got it from him, aside from a little spiderweb there, is the Droids A-Wing fighter that was previously his. Now the ironic thing was I had the A-Wing pilot figure, but not the ship. John was the opposite. He had the ship, but not the figure. So the day that I went to the comic book shop and paid him for this and was going to take it home, I took this guy out of my pocket and I put him inside the cockpit. And it was the first time that the two of us got to share that moment of the correct pilot being in the correct ship. And we both just sort of went, and then I left with both and he had his money. So yeah, that's my story of the Droids A-Wing fighter for my collection. And yeah, it still gets to me. At some point I went to a Star Wars convention and they showed a box for the Droids White Witch vehicle that was never produced. You see, Kenner actually had plans to make a White Witch vehicle for the Droids line. It made it to a prototype form and even a painted form, but it was never ever released. And I shot video of the box and just panned along the artwork, and then some friend of mine, pen pal, I don't remember who it was, I mentioned this to him. He said he wanted it. He took my frames of video on the dub that I sent him and stitched it back together as a graphic, and then he printed this up, and then I spray mounted it onto some white foam core there. So Star Wars Droids, The Adventures of R2-D2 and C-3po, White Witch vehicle, contents: one vehicle with spring-loaded crash feature, Kenner, ages 4 and up, number 69380. So, pretty cool graphic there. And then in 2020, I ordered this item, which I have never opened until now. I've been holding off about this. I kind of wish that those Target figures had all come in so that I could do all of these on camera in one video. But this is a custom 3D printed version of the White Witch. And I remember it looking pretty cool and ordering it and then getting nervous that, wait a minute, I shouldn't be buying stuff online right now because I could catch COVID from somebody. You know, in those early days you had those thoughts. So I just sort of put it back and put it by and never ever opened this box. Alright, so here are the component pieces that I am seeing for the first time, as are you. It is in kit form, so I will have to do some sanding to it and do some assembling to it and some painting to it. But let's see if we can kind of figure out what goes where really quick here. There at the moment is a very gray White Witch. So come here, R2. Let's put you there. I loved the Droids cartoon. I was just, when it first started airing, I was so obsessed with it that I actually took the tape recorder and held it up to the TV set to get that great Stuart Copeland theme song. Stepping softly in a danger zone. No weapons in my hand. It's just this brain designed by man. Got me. Trouble again. Trouble again. I live my life in jeopardy, in the service of my friends. I wouldn't care, but it's a dangerous affair, 'cause I'm in trouble again. That's pretty cool, man. That is really pretty cool. I'm guessing these are like landing gear for there. Yep. And these thrusters may go back here. I'm not entirely sure where they all go. And then this piece is going to socket in there one way or t'other. Sweet. That is just pretty sweet. Gotta get me some decent white paint for a change, because if there's one thing that I never seem to have luck painting with, it's always white spray paint. Alright, White Witch on the horizon. Moving on, so much else to do.